Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a review as well as a book talk for City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, this is not my first time having read City of Bones. This is actually a reread. I started reading the series in February this year and finished reading it by June. And what happened is that I thought of watching the Shadowhunters TV show in July and I just enjoyed the show a lot more. Okay, I loved the ending of the series, ending of the books, as well as I loved the entire show as a whole itself. It's not totally based on the books. Only half of the show, if you ask me, is based on the books, and the half other thing, and the other half is totally on its own. So it was good in that way. It didn't do justice for the books, but as a show, it was really, really good. And after watching the show, I had this instinct that I have to read the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles, not just the Mortal Instruments, but the entire series. There are like 18 books out now. It's not bad because I've read like 6 of the books already. There are just 12 more to go, so I can easily read them. And I wanted to reread the Mortal Instruments again, and I wanted to share my opinions with you guys. So in this video, we are just going to have a review for like the first 3 or 4 minutes, which will be spoiler free, and then I'll get into spoilers. I'll just put a tag here, or I'll just tell you so you can step out if you've not read the book. And if you have read the book, please do stay on because I've got a lot of thoughts to speak about this one. Let's see something about the plot of City of Bones, which is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. Now we have this main character named Clary Frey, who's going to turn 16 in like a week or two. And what happens then is that her mother is abducted, and she's shown to. It is brought to her knowledge that she's part of this line of angelic human beings called the Shadowhunters, who hunt demons and protect the human life. And it is not known for any of the other human beings since they don't have Shadowhunter blood. The people who kill the demons and also the demons who are part of this world comprise this other partition of the world in the series called the Shadow World. It is so interesting in that way. And what happens is that we don't just have Shadowhunters and human beings. We also have an entire cast of things in the Shadow World, like vampires, werewolves, demons, warlocks, and many other things. It's just a fun time, and you just have to go into this story keeping in mind that this is something that's experienced by the main character. She might be grumpy at times, so if you don't like her, there's a huge chance that this might be a drop down. But if you concentrate more on all the characters of the story as well as the plot, then you can go and read the entire thing. Now coming to the characters of this book, we have like a huge cast of characters. The main characters being Clary Frey, just as I said before. There's this other guy called Jace and Jace Wayland, and there are like 2 other kids who are Alec and Isabel Lightwood. They are brother and sister, just from the names itself you can tell that. And also we have an important friend of Clary, Simon. She's been his friend since like 8 years or 9 years old, and they've grown up together, so they are like so close friends when it comes to friendship. And also we have like different other characters. We have Clary's mother, Jocelyn Frey, and her friend Luke. We have a lot of characters, just as I said before, but Clary and Jace, they are like the main focus throughout this book, and they are not that much likable as characters. But when you put your focus on all the characters rather than just the 2 main characters, it is kind of very much fun to read because it's a totally new world, right? Though there is this human world, we don't get that much part of the human world in the story. We just get the Shadow World as a whole. If you're a person who likes exploring worlds when it comes to fantasy, then this is a great book to enjoy. That's all when it comes to the spoiler free part. I'm going to discuss spoilers from now on, so if you have not read the book, please do step out because I don't want to spoil the story for you. Or if you do want to sit down and get spoiled and enjoy the story, then you can. Okay, now into the spoilers. Hi all. Now I'm going to discuss everything that I think are like so much noteworthy when it comes to this book, so it's going to be a long video. Okay, what happened is that I thought that I'll be enjoying the story while I'm reading it, but I didn't think that I'd enjoy it to such an extent, because by the end of the series I started loving most of the characters. Certain characters I was able to relate with them as well, and what happened is that I wanted to annotate this as much as I could while reading, and just see how much annotations I've made. Okay, that's a lot if you ask me. For me, what I did is I sat down, I'll read a chapter and I'll just sum up the chapter in a sticky note and just put it at the end of the chapter, so it'll be easier for me to comprehend what I'm doing, because I'm not going to be able to read this book in a single sitting, because see, it's 500 pages, and I also wanted to make this nice detailed chat video on City of Bones, and it was good. I'll start with the negative stuff because I just have two things which I think are negative about City of Bones. The first one is that having Clary as a main character. Okay, most of the people, they don't end up liking Clary, and at times what happens is that they don't end up liking City of Bones and they are not able to get past that book. That's mainly because of Clary. She's the main character and we get this entire story from her point of view only, and that was a bit annoying to read in the first time, but on the second time I know what I was getting into, so it was a bit better. And the next one is that this book is mostly a Jace and Clary book rather than anyone else. Okay, the other main characters like Simon, Isabel, Alec, Magnus, they are not even put into focus that much. Magnus actually occurs only just 3 times in 3 scenes in his chapter Magnus Bane, and in like 2 other chapters. Alec and Isabel, they come in the beginning, and after the beginning they just occur like 2 or 3 times. We don't even get that much established lines explaining whom Alec and Isabel are. We just get certain glimpses of those characters, which I liked. They are developed in the later books in the series, I know that, but I think they could have gotten a lot more space in the first book, so that actually they are the main cast, right? They are going to battle together against whatever is going to come in the future, and I think they might have given they might or must have been given some more of an importance in the first book, so it would have been better to enjoy. Now let's talk something that is very much important when it comes to the Mortal Instruments series, that is the ships. Okay, we have these 3 main ships, Clace, Clary and Jace, Sissy, Simon and Izzy, and third one, Malec, Magnus and Alec. Okay, and of these 3, I must say in my order of favorites, Sissy is my most favorite, Malec is my second favorite, and Clace is my least favorite if you ask me. But I'm going to speak about Clace first because they have the most number of scenes together, and they have like a lot of moments which just describe that this is going to be like the defining points of your relationship. I'm going to discuss certain scenes which I thought were like very clever moves that were put by Cassandra Clare in this book, and it was also good that the series is going to just happen within 1 year time span, and it is so easily possible that these people might end up with their love interests at the end, and they also all do, but the things that they experience between those things, they are great. In this one we just get the first instances of those love, right? Of all the 3 loves. The first one is Clary and Jace. The instant which I liked the most was when Jace takes a chance and puts the invisibility rune on Clary's hand, not knowing that it might work on her. He just has this feeling that she will survive and he'll be able to take her away, and I think that is the first instant in which we get this connection established between Clary and Jace due to their blood mainly, and we see that connection between them, it keeps on repeating throughout the series, and there's this small instant which shows like the beginning of an entire arc, and I like that one a lot when it comes to Clary and Jace. Actually, we spend a lot of time with Clary and Jace only. Most of the time with Clary, and the second most of the time with Clary and Jace together. In every scene almost, Clary is there. And the next one is my most favorite. I just love these 2 people, Simon and Isabel, Sissy. Okay, and the first scene in which Simon and Isabel actually meet is in the institute when Isabel is making the soup. Okay, and everyone is like, they are so repulsed. They are like, I don't want to take the soup. What happens is that they are continuously having conversations, and Clary and Jace, they want to go and meet Hodge, but Simon doesn't want to go with them because Jace is there, so he just stays there with Isabel. What happens is that Isabel just pushes him a bowl of soup, and she's like smiling, seeing down. She's just seeing the soup that she's doing, and she's cooking, and she's smiling right there, and that was so beautiful to see. Okay, those were certain innocent chunks of the characters which were totally missed out in the shows. They were shown so mature. Okay, for that age they need to be mature, but these were like certain character traits which I enjoyed a lot while reading, and I wanted to see them on screen, but they were not there. The next one is when Simon is transformed back to his human form from being a rat, and they all come back to the institute, escaping the vamps and the werewolves. What happens is that Hodge actually mends all of them, and Simon's feet is that much swollen that Izzy actually cuts out his shoe and she has to take it out. Normally I don't think Isabel will do it for anyone else except Jace and Alec, because they are like her brothers, but that line which showed that Isabel actually went forward and cut off Simon's shoe just because she cared that much about him. That was so beautiful. I like that because Sybil develops in a great way throughout the series, and I'm sure that in the further books she'll not be doing that to anyone except these three guys, if you ask me, and Clary, because they are like her team, her squad. She'll not be doing that for anyone else for sure, and I like that instant of Sissy a lot. The next one is Malik, who are like the most famous couple when it comes to the Shadowhunter universe, and there is this instant in which when Magnus and Alec meet itself, there is this spark. We can just see the paper burning. It's that kind of a spark. And what happens is that when Magnus tells about his past to Clary, saying that Clary is not able to remember her past, right? So Magnus goes on telling about his past, and he just ends it. At that time, Alec is the one to talk. Okay, no one else talks. They are all silent and awestruck on hearing Magnus' story. They are not able to console him or say anything comforting to him in that sense. One reason is that he's so old, and the second reason is that they are not familiar with him. But what happens is that Alec just opens his mouth. He doesn't usually speak at all to anyone, especially strangers. And what happens is that this is the first time that Alec meets Magnus also. Okay, Alec just says that it's not your fault. What we are born is not our fault. Okay, what we are born with is not our fault. It was such a beautiful line. They have this moment. Okay, Magnus and Alec have this moment, hence Malik. Okay, I don't want to keep on stressing Malik, right? Because they are the most famous couple, and there's a reason behind that also. They have like many complexities in the relationship, and there's also this instant in which while they are leaving Magnus's place after getting back Simon, what happens is that they're all leaving, and Magnus sees Alec and says that call me. Okay, and Alec is not responding to it at all because he's totally flirting with Magnus, and he's just standing there. He's not able to talk a word to Magnus because he's totally in love with this guy, okay, from the first sight itself. And Jace has to pull him by the elbow and drag him out while going out. That was really nice because Alec isn't that kind of a character. He's like so stern, so honest. He's like so sturdy. He's a guard character because he's gay and he's not come out, right? So he has these guards put on himself so that he makes himself look so tough. But inside, Alec is not tough. He's so vulnerable, and when Magnus comes, he just breaks down all those walls, and he has to be with Magnus. That's what he thinks. And there's also this scene in which they are all injured, right? And Hodge is able to mend Jace and Isabel, but he's not able to do anything to Alec because it's beyond his powers. So after Hodge takes up Clary and Jace, after Hodge takes up, Valentine takes up Jace and Hodge escapes. And Clary also goes following Hodge. There is this instant in which Magnus comes, he drives everyone out, and he takes care of Alec, and until morning he just stays up with Alec so that he's okay. We also have this instant before all this happens in which I also like this relationship between Clary and Alec, because they are like so opposite of each other. Ever since Clary came into the Shadowhunter world, it has been a mess for Alec because it has been like kill demons, be safe, and stay inside the closet. That's what it has been for Alec. But ever since Clary came, everything has been a havoc of a mess. And there's also this relationship of Alec with Jace that has been disrupted by Clary, because Alec loves Jace and Jace is loving Clary now, and that also puts in a kind of jealousy in Alec's mind. What happens is that they have this fight, Clary and Alec, and just Clary goes on saying that out of temper, she says that at least I'm daring to say that I'm in love with certain people, and she says that since Alec is in love with Jace, that's why he's putting all this drama. They are the only two people who are having that conversation, and just Alec grabs her by the throat and hits her on the wall and says that if you ever say anything like that ever again to Jace, I will kill you. I'll swear on the angel that I'll kill you. He says something like that. Okay, it was like such a defining moment in between Clary and Alec's friendship or their relationship, which is to bloom. Later, towards the end, what happens is that Clary understands that what she said was not right, and she goes and apologizes with Alec for being such a rude person. And Alec is also okay with that because he's seen Magnus. By the end of book 1, all the relationships at some point take off except Clary and Jace, because we know at the end Valentine just reveals that Clary and Jace are siblings and it is such a mess towards the end. And also Simon and Isabel also, they have kind of moments, but it has not bloomed into a relationship yet. Magnus and Alec, it's so obvious. Okay, Alec is not ready to accept it, but it has happened. We can see that something has started between those two people. And there's also this friendship between Clary and Isabel, which is like, I just love that girl friendship, because friendships we see a lot. We see friendship between boys a lot, we see friendship between boys and girls a lot, but friendship between two girls, we don't at all see that in a reasonable number in books. But in this one, it was done in the best way. In the beginning also, it starts out in a way that Clary and Isabel, they don't like each other, and Clary just says in her mind several times that I just hate this girl. And at the end, it's just that it's not that they hate each other, they are not used to being around other girls. They've been surrounded by boys. Clary has had Simon as her only trustworthy friend throughout all these years, and Isabel has grown up with just Alec and Jace alone, and she's also not used to being around other girls. So that was the thing which was like holding them back from becoming friends. And by the end of book 1, they understand what has happened to both of them. It was good. And also in this scene when they are going to Magnus in order to retrieve Clary's memories, they are going to the party, right? So Clary doesn't know how to dress up. Isabel just makes her sit down and dresses her up like a Barbie doll, and she's applying eyeliner to her eyes. And at that instant, Clary asks Isabel that is Alec really gay? At that time, what happens is that except Isabel and Alec, no one else knows this. So she just trips, and while she's applying eyeliner, her hand trembles and she puts a stroke from her eye to the hairline of Clary. And there's this conversation between Clary and Isabel, and Clary understands that she'll not be saying it out to anyone. There are like those certain chunks of moments which just establish their relationship in a beautiful way towards the future. I liked all those little chunks. Okay, they are not that much important to the story as a whole, but for the development of the characters, in order to form this big arc which is going to like overpower everything else in this series, those are things which we need to have. Okay, even from the first time itself, there are certain instances which I said, right, most of these I read from my first read itself. I remember from my first read itself, and I just went down and dissected each and every line when it came to those things, and I just love those. Okay, those relationships, that's what makes the series a better one, and these characters worthy enough to root for. Okay, before ending this video, I want to read this specific paragraph that goes on like a monologue in Clary's mind. I think this sums up the entire first book. It is like this. Okay, we'll be together there, said Valentine, as we should be. That sounds terrific, thought Clary. Just you, your comatose wife, your shell-shocked son, and your daughter who hates your guts. Not to mention that your two kids may be in love with each other. Yeah, that sounds like a perfect family reunion. Aloud, she said only, I'm not going anywhere with you, and neither is my mother. Okay, I just loved it a lot, and I just highlighted the entire paragraph with my highlighter, and I just love that. Okay, it actually sums up the entire book, right? And this is the actual thing which builds up throughout the first book. And there are all, just as I said before, the relationships which I had spent like at least 10 minutes talking about, and I just liked the whole story as a whole. And if you've read this book, do tell me what are the moments which you found like very interesting and noteworthy throughout, such that they'll make sense in the further books, because those are the things which I'm rooting for. And if anyone wants to join me in reading the entire series, I'd be very happy to. I don't know when I'm going to read the second book, but it will be pretty soon. I think it will be on the last 10 days of August or some, so I'm not sure yet, but I'm sure that by the end of this year I will have finished reading the entire series, because I just love it. And that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.